No, dude, there have been cases, and I can't think of a specific one off the top of my bat, but I know it's the top of my bat. I can't think of a specific one off the top of my head.
Yeah. There you go.
The hell is off the top of my bat mean?
I don't know. You tell me.
I think I've turned into Matthew Berry, where I'm just like mixing idioms at will.
Joe, we need to like save that. We could probably use that.
Off the top of my bat.
Off the top of my bat. Especially when we're playing baseball, when we're like talking about the Major League Baseball.
Yeah, dude, that'll be the name of our baseball segment. Off the top of my bat.
I like it. I like it.
This is how we do it, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all around the world, this is Dan and D presenting you another ripping edition of the Dan vs. D Sports and Stuff podcast with the initials DVD, as in DVD player. I'm your player, D with 2 E's, and always by my side is
Dan with an A-N.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's right. Man, it has been since February since we did a episode.
February is when the last one came out.
Oh, man. And, just doing quick hits. The Patriots won the Super Bowl. Woo! Late celebration. So.
Wow. Yeah. No, it's been that long that we haven't even talked about that. Oh, wow.
We'll talk about that like another time, I guess, when it's like going towards training camp. We'll do previews. But right now, we got like some other important stuff that's recently happened to talk about. But we're just doing a briefing right now because, man, we just got to catch up.
All right. Yeah. News and brief. So, very quickly, if we can recap the entirety of the NBA playoffs, Celtics, worse than we think. Bucks, worse than we thought.
Actually, they were better because they actually got to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is something they haven't done since like Michael Redd days.
They were the overwhelming favorite, though.
I was willing to I was like maybe from the general public, but from my personal standpoint, it was gonna be Milwaukee and Toronto, like being neck and neck. So
fair enough.
I don't know.
Anyways,
my wild card was the Sixers, though.
But I think we can all agree, Rockets much worse than we thought.
Oh man, and not to mention the dysfunction in the locker room.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that bears a recap. So the Rockets got a shot at the Warriors without Kevin Durant because he
game was it game 2? He strained his.
No, it was game 5.
Game 5. That's right. Oh yeah,
right because they
didn't. Because it was tied at 2, and then they had a chance in the second half to like win it, or to take control, and they just didn't do it. Because he went down in the third quarter, and they had like a whole quarter to like basically run with it, and they just didn't do it. And they just
failed.
It's called Steph Curry.
Yep.
Even then, I think Curry was kind of struggling a little bit in that game.
Yes.
But yeah, like the West. I mean, the Nuggets, better than what we thought.
Better than we thought, I would say.
And should have been in the Western Conference Finals, yes.
Should have.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Because they blew
an 18-point lead to the Trailblazers in Game 7, which was an exciting game, by the way. Yeah. Especially seeing, what's his name? Oh, McCollum. CJ McCollum, I'm trying, Jennifer. He did try, and he succeeded.
Right, so they won a playoff series.
So they exceeded expectations, but then just got swept by the Warriors without KD.
Yep. So that happened. We're just kind of haphazardly going through it here. We're trying to follow the main storylines. So,
and the Lakers and the New York Knicks are just like still dysfunctional.
Well, we'll get there because we dude, like Magic happened, the whole Magic thing.
Oh yeah, Magic happened. Them not New York losing out on Zion.
Yeah, so we'll get there. I promise we'll get there. Let's
not forget the ultimate troll by Demps.
Yes. So, but okay. So
this is gonna be an NBA heavy podcast. Like, we can already tell you that.
Yeah, I don't think anything other than the NBA is going to be featured in this podcast.
I mean, and also since the last episode, the Major League Baseball season started. So
I know I've been like massively off my game with not watching baseball, but
same here.
Anyways, that's cool.
Actually, that's not good for me.
You might actually have more current knowledge than me with your playing of the video game, at least. But
I haven't played that in a while either because I got a new job, guys. Woo!
Yay!
So like full-time work. So it's trying to balance my time and stuff. But there's no excuse for me not to get time in, especially doing Road to the Show. I can play a couple games because you just do a couple at bats and a couple fielding exercises, and then boom, that's one game right there. And like a match would take literally like 3 minutes to run through for your storyline. So
true,
I should do that.
Okay,
I love the digressions. So let's go. And then the NBA Finals happened, and I would say that we probably thought, you thought they were going to get swept. I told you at least 2 games, and then you were like, okay.
I haven't bought you dinner yet. I forgot about that.
Yeah, like, so I bet Dan, we shook on it, so it's a binding agreement that if the Raptors won one game, just one, in the NBA Finals, he would buy me dinner, and if they got swept, then I would do vice versa. Not only did they win one game, that they also won the whole thing. So does that mean you owe me 4 dinners? Nah, just one.
No, that was a Paul, and I'm a little sad that was not captured on the podcast. But that was a Paul Pierce level like gaffe from me that I said, and it's because I was so frustrated with how the Rockets had really blown their chance to take down the Warriors that I genuinely said to D, the Raptors are not going to win a game in this series. And I said that with a straight face, and I believed it. And
I didn't believe that 1 minute because I had a lot of confidence in Kawhi Leonard.
Which you were right to have.
I mean, come on. How can you go wrong with those perfectly formed cornrows?
So that's more or less our news in brief. And I guess we'll start there with the finals. And I mean, how do you feel about it? Was it fun?
It was fun because like I literally wanted to like watch like every match. I kind of like going on like first take here. Did the Raptors win it or did the Warriors lose it due to like the injuries? Like, I mean, I don't want to take nothing away from Toronto and stuff. Like, we know it would be a different story if they had KD, and then if Klay Thompson, who was scoring 30 points in Game 6, didn't go out tearing his ACL. But Toronto really did, play pretty good in the finals, especially Kawhi Leonard, offense and defense. Especially that Game 5 when he started out the second half, he shot and scored a 3-pointer, got a steal, and then hit another 3-pointer within like the first minute. I kind of knew that they were going to have that Game 5.
Right.
I think that kind of turned the tides a little bit in the finals.
Yeah. And I mean, like, what he did throughout the whole playoffs, like, I think
it was Game 4, not Game 5, because KD came back in 5 and re-injured himself.
Right.
Took that game. That's right.
We'll get there too, because that was a whole thing. But so I think in recent years, like LeBron has almost, I don't know quite how to phrase this, but has sort of almost raised our expectations of everyone else. Like, it is not normal for like one player to average, 30 friggin' points a game throughout the whole playoffs and, rebounds and assists and putting the team on his back and playing lockdown defense the whole time and just doing everything.
That's Kawhi Leonard. That's what he does.
That's what he did.
Done.
And pick your stats. I mean, there's been a lot of good writing out there about like how historically anomalous it is what he accomplished.
He was on lists like with Jordan and stuff, like just on points alone.
Right.
Like
so
of him, LeBron James. And
stuff. Points in a single postseason and all. So like this was like a historic run from possible future Hall of Fame player. Like this was, a guy at the peak of his powers. We didn't even know if he was going to be the same after the quad injury last year. So, and I mean, really about as big of an image rehabilitation as a guy can have in 1 year.
Well, you know what this represents, though, this whole year does for Kawhi Leonard? This let me know this represents a person being hungry.
Yeah.
Like proving to people that, hey, like I'm not full of it for sitting out more than any of you guys like thought I should have, and for guys who thought, or for the media who thought I was betraying my team, like, look, I didn't feel well, and I wanted to make sure I was back. I get traded, and people on Twitter, like the Spurs Twitter, was saying thank you, Danny Green, for his services, but then they just totally just skipped Kawhi as if he was blacklisted, and then the whole season I think he just felt like he had something to prove, and just all season long and in the playoffs it's like he just was on a mission, like he was just ready to prove the naysayers wrong, right? And he did it with gusto.
Yeah, and I mean they were smart too throughout the season that I think he only played 60-something games this year, so they intentionally rested him a lot, with the idea being not only, hey, we don't want our medical treatment of him to be the reason he leaves, but also with this sort of added bonus of, hey, this is going to get him fresh for the playoffs.
Yeah, he was their secret weapon, because that was the one weapon they didn't have last year.
Right.
That was going to make things different.
In the spirit of that, like, trading for Kawhi in the first place from Masai Ujiri, the GM, was very much a finals championship or bust kind of move. Mm-hmm. And everything they did throughout the season was sort of with an eye towards doing that.
Yeah.
Getting there wasn't enough anymore.
Well, especially when LeBron James is taken out of the picture, when he migrated to the West.
Right,
so it was less of so they lost their excuse to not go far.
So let's talk about Game 5, because that, honestly, for me, man, is one of the most, I think, surreal sports things I've ever seen. Like, Super Bowl 42 was pretty surreal. Some of that was just like my own fandom bias at how momentous it felt. But after all this speculation about KD over about a month of games he missed.
He missed like throughout 30 days.
Yeah. So there's all this speculation in the media that, maybe he doesn't want to play hurt because he's going into free agency and this and that. And, and then he's on Instagram saying stuff, and nothing too scandalous, but, as we all know,
quite
KD,
quite divisive, Mikey.
As we all know, KD has a long and sordid history with social media. And so it's been a story over a month, and, every bit of analysis, every podcast, every TV segment where people are talking about the NBA Finals, it's like, well, the Warriors' chances change dramatically if KD comes back. And we get the word right before Game 5, basically, or we get the word early in the day that he's going to be a game-time decision, and then basically right before the game, it comes out, okay, right, he's going to play.
About 2 days before the game, there was I think I saw something about Steve Kerr saying that he was ready to declare him unable to play or something.
But he comes out and he plays, and that's the thing.
He played great.
He did not look like a guy. I mean, okay, yeah, the vertical wasn't quite there, but he did not look like a guy who was hobbled by injury and couldn't play.
All he had to do was shoot.
Yeah, and he drained all his 3-pointers and was looking like the man. And then you've seen it 100 times.
When it plants.
He was trying to post up somebody and just planted a little bit wrong, and that thing just went. And it was just the strangest. So I was actually over.
You was at my me and my girlfriend's apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were watching it together, and it was like, I didn't immediately think, oh, he tore his Achilles, or, oh, it's a serious injury. I thought, given it's a calf strain, I was like, oh, okay, he tweaked it.
Re-injury.
Probably he's not going to play the rest of the series. Whatever. But in reality, it was way worse, and he's going to miss all of next season. And the other thing is, when you look up, and again, you've probably seen it 100 times now, but the list of basketball players who have had that injury it's not 100% guarantee that he's even going to be the same player when he comes back. So
I'm hoping it saps some of his athleticism, but doesn't take away his like scoring ability.
Right. And I mean, dude's gonna shoot a jumper until he turns 50. Like, that's not going away. But
getting up and down that court.
But his ability to play great lockdown defense and jump and move around as quickly as he does, for like, that's what throughout his career has made him something of like a friggin' like create a player, because he's that tall and that long, but he's still kind of like lanky enough that he can move around and is just like a whir of arms and legs. And and I worry, I do worry that he won't be the same, that we've seen the best of Kevin Durant already. And that's a very sad thought to think, regardless of what you think of him as a person, and he's, yes, had a reputation throughout his career of being, petty and thin-skinned, but like,
we're talking about the person, man.
You can't,
we're talking about somebody's livelihood.
You can't, and we'll never know. We'll never know what was going through his head. I'm honestly in the camp of choosing to believe that it shows what kind of heart he has, like, regardless of whether he is petty and thin-skinned or not, and I think it's pretty clear that he is. He was out there playing because he wants to play. He's a goddamn basketball player, and that's what they do. Mm-hmm. And, whether the Warriors,
win a championship.
Whether the Warriors screwed up in either their evaluation of the injury or in the decision to greenlight him playing, Bob Myers crying on the podium, but kind of, he said in words, blame me, but then kind of listed a bunch of reasons why you shouldn't blame him. So, we'll see. And we're never going to know. I don't think anyone's gonna say. We'll find out when the 30 for 30 about this game comes out in like 10 years.
Boy.
And that felt like a 30 for 30 kind of moment, didn't it? Just the whole night.
Yes, it did. He scored 11 points and they won by 1. So just that short amount of time being there, they won the game. But you could tell, I have to go to we have to go into game 6. At the end, it still went back to, hey, you have Steph Curry and you still have Klay Thompson. Remember what I said? All they needed was Kevin Durant to go. I think I was telling my girlfriend this. All they need is they just need 10 points from him and they can win this game.
Yeah.
And they did.
They got it. They got it in like 12 minutes. So, But yeah. And I mean, also too, just the weirdness of Kawhi went on that run at the end of the game, and it seemed like, all right, the Raptors are winning the championship tonight in front of their home crowd, and KD is gone, and the Warriors are dead in the water, and then Steph and Klay one more time kind of shot their way out of trouble.
People still I think some people just let KD overshadow the fact that these group of guys have won a championship before.
Yeah, no, and they showed it, and it's weird because I think in a weird way their kind of run without KD kind of brought some of the goodwill back that had been lost by them signing Kevin Durant and supposedly having, a basketball cheat code, basically.
Well, like that.
So
what about
at the end, there was all these people, a lot of media segments about, the potential end of the Warriors or whatever. But, it was like, everyone just kind of fawning over like what a great team they were and what a great run they had. And it's like everyone last year, including us on a podcast this time last year, were just like, fuck this. This is so boring. I hate it. I'm done. And here we are being like, oh man, it was so fun to watch the Warriors. And it's like, come on, dude.
I mean, to be fair though, it is fun to see the Warriors play basketball because of just how good of a team they are. Not just like playing like, power basketball, hero ball. There you go. Like, hey, we got these best players and we're just going to just pound them in your face. They actually operate well with like the ball movement and everything. So they do know how to play the fundamentals. They just have more improved. They actually have more like better skill sets because of the quality of talents. But we were going about Game 5. What'd you think about the whole cheering of Toronto when Kevin went down?
So I've heard a bunch of different things from like various media members that were in the arena. Some people think they were cheering the fast break and not the injury. Some people think they were cheering the injury. We'll never know for sure because it's, hundreds of different people. Yeah. There was definitely a guy in the front row who was waving by at KD.
Oh, I saw that.
Which was, pretty gross.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he just thought it was just like, a retweak of the quad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, I don't know. It's not like everybody in the moment knew he tore his Achilles, but still, It's just like, I don't know. Whatever. I mean, I don't really clutch pearls about that kind of stuff anymore because it's just like every fan base has crappy people in it. And that's just a subject we've long covered on this show is that there's just...
That was episode 1.
There's bad apples in every fan base. And I have a hard time getting super worked up about it. I mean, KD, it sucks and it's awful that it happened, but at the same time, Kevin Durant's an adult. He knew what he signed up for. He was a basketball player. He chose to play. He had to have some cognizance that something like this could happen.
Just bad luck.
And it was just rotten, awful, terrible luck.
Get well, KD.
And then that's the thing. So the Warriors, after all the absurd good luck they had to kind of put this run together in the first place, we keep talking like the run is over. But like, in a way, it kind of was bookended by just some incredible bad luck on the end because they lost Kevin Durant and then they lost
Klay Thompson. In game 6, the following game after when he was at 30 points.
Yep.
At that third quarter. Because I remember I was watching the game and he got hurt or something. I remember I was just saying to myself oh man, Toronto's not getting the foul calls and stuff, and then they get the foul calls on the other end and this and that, and then a minute later it just took me, it just registered to me. I'm like, hey, when they show that replay again, showed it the third or fourth time, I'm like, ooh, that's ACL.
It was such a cool moment though that he came out and shot the free throws.
Because he wanted to go back in originally. Because I remember hearing that he was pleading to the trainers to let him back in the game.
Yeah.
And then the next you know, he's on crutches walking out of the exit. And the next day, I knew at that point I was thinking that's gotta be ACL or something.
Yeah.
Because you ain't walking out of crutches and not being able to get back in the game, the most important game of your life, without there being a really serious concern of long-term damage.
Yeah. And that's wild, man. And I guess more so with the KD injury because of what I said, the night just being so surreal in general. But it's been a long time since I was that shaken by a sports thing.
KD injury?
Yeah.
Man, I tell you though.
It just was such a strange, and I think the strangeness is captured in how strangely people reacted to it.
Mm-hmm.
That all of those columnists there was the guy, I think for The Athletic, who wrote a column about how, KD should toughen up and play, basically, and then spent the next day on Twitter, flagellating himself over having written that article, 2 days before, mm-hmm. So, And
it makes you question about, was Kawhi Leonard right from the stance that he took last year.
Right.
So that makes you keep that in mind. But you want to talk about reactions. I kind of knew it was over when the injury occurred to Klay Thompson. Steph Curry, he kind of slammed the ball down, and then he sat down on the court with his arms folded around his legs. It's like he was mentally crushed, because that was
over.
At one point with Kevin, it was one thing because they had gone on without him during the playoffs, but he literally saw his brother going down, the other half to his Splash Brothers go down, and he was honestly, I think that was the first time Curry felt like he was alone. And you can kind of tell some of those shots that he shot and missed. I know they were smothering him and stuff, but even then, half those shots he missed, he would have made. So you could tell something wasn't right.
But also, too, once Klay went out,
they all focused on him.
The Raptors got to play like straight box and one, where they just have one defender who just shadows him no matter what.
So pretty much treat him like LeBron James.
Yeah.
And just like everybody else is just like.
And they had no other. So that's the other thing, is that, remember all the people over the summer who were like, this shit, when the Warriors signed Cousins?
Boogie.
Like, oh, they have 5 All-Stars. And like, people forgot that Cousins tore his Achilles too, and he's likely wasn't going to be the same player.
He was never the same player when he did get to play. Like, he showed flashes, but the old Boogie?
Yeah. But the point being, and it's been well documented since then, is that the Warriors chose to sign him instead of like additional shooting depth. They used that basically slot on the roster too to sign like a question mark instead of, yo, let's get a decent shooter. Because, I mean, how can you predict injuries? But it resulted in a team that really couldn't withstand a major injury and was extremely top heavy.
And then it happened.
And then suddenly now you're playing like friggin' Jonas Jerebko in very key moments in an elimination game. So there you go. Although, isn't it funny though that people were making fun of Kevon Looney, who another guy whose stock rose about as far as it can rise in a single postseason.
And then he got hurt.
Because he went from like, you know, I honestly think people thought he was about the same level of player as like JaVale McGee.
Oh no.
And then like people who hadn't watched the Warriors all year, like me, I had no idea who the guy was. I was just like, oh, it's a tall guy with a goofy name. Okay, he must be bad.
Looney.
But then he played really well during the playoffs and was like very instrumental in them beating the Rockets.
And then he had the chest injury, and then that turned him into a pumpkin.
And he played through it. The dude had like loose cartilage floating around in his chest.
Ooh,
and he played through it.
And having trouble breathing. Dude. Like having trouble breathing. You could tell from the labor he was in, like labor pains and stuff, but he still was performing pretty good.
All that to say, I think it resulted weirdly in this situation where I think people feel bad for the Warriors because it really is just a result of, I mean, not just. The Raptors won the championship.
They won it.
They were victimized by some really bad luck along the way.
So would you say it was a face turn? They were the heels, and then they became the faces because of sympathy, which is something that in the wrestling is a tactic that they do. You have a heel, and then say like the face wins, and then, you know, because that's what the fans want. They want the heel to get his comeuppance, and then it turns out the heel gets jumped from behind, either from that face or some other figures. The garner sympathy for that person who was regarded as the bad guy, and I think this scenario kind of represents what the Warriors went through. Because I was like, I don't care who wins because I want to see them overcome these injuries. I was deep down by the time it got to like game 3 or game 4. I was like, I want to see, like, after the KD injury, the re-injury. I want to see the Warriors pull this off.
Right.
Can you imagine? Like, that would kind of be like, what, Patriot-esque? They just pull it off.
Like when the Patriots won without Gronk that one year?
Yeah. But like but it didn't happen. I want Toronto to win, but I also want the Warriors to win. And so either way, I was like, this is going to be a good rest of series.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to see a Game 7 if Klay was healthy. But we all know if it went to a Game 7, they weren't going to win that game with Klay out.
Yeah, not on the road. But I will say, and I mean, the Raptors won every game at Oracle Arena in the series. So
that is hard to do.
Lose every game at home in a postseason series, you're not going to win. Just period, point blank. You're not winning. So suffice to say that the Raptors won it. They deserve it. And it's also fun to see a like historically downtrodden franchise kind of rise up and, you know, and make something of them, sort of like that first Patriots championship way back before their heel turn.
Man, I tell you, fun fact about me, like after the Bulls had disbanded and stuff with Michael Jordan and stuff, I actually had left my team, like a fan of my Bulls for like a while, and the team I chose to root for those years was Toronto.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of Vinsanity.
Oh, everybody loved Vince Carter.
I love Vince Carter because he came from Carolina, first off. Not to mention, he had him when he went between the legs and put the arm through the hoop. Or when he jumped over that 7-footer in that that Olympic game. But then I ended up going back to the Bulls because that's when they were the baby Bulls, when they had like Kurt Heinrich and Ben Gordon and Chris Duhon.
Luol Deng.
Yes.
Dual Lang.
But yeah, like I always had
Kyle Korver.
I always had room for Toronto though, like because remember they had Marcus Camby when they drafted Marcus Camby.
Wow.
Damon Stoudemire. Then like they had Vince Carter, and then guess who was coming off the bench for Toronto? Tracy McGrady.
What?
Yes, McGrady was on the Raptors.
So he was their James Harden?
I don't know if he was a James Harden because I didn't pay that close attention, but I do remember in like old sports games, he was like not a starter, but he was on the bench with for Toronto.
And actually, Tracy McGrady was a Houston great, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. Like he went to like the Magic.
I remember.
That's right. He could get more playing time, and then he went to
Houston.
They exploded more on the scene with the Rockets
and played with Yao Ming. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and now devote a block to the real story, the champions. Like we've talked about the Warriors a lot.
Look, we did
so
it too.
Now let's talk about the team that actually won the thing, like the Raptors, and like what was 25 years of franchise futility or something, championship.
24 years or 25, something like that. Yeah,
and they finally got over the hump. All the turmoil, early playoff exits in the hands of LeBron James, or just crappy luck, time and time again. Kyle Lowry being the butt of people's jokes because they say he can't get it done, and then all of a sudden they get it done.
Compared to last year when they played LeBron, what was in the second round, and they lost that first game really close, and it just like broke that team psychologically. The rest of the series were not the same, and LeBron just single-handedly just like, I don't know, ruined their childhoods. He went into the past and like snatched all of their favorite memories away.
Or he just kicked their dog.
Yeah.
Man.
It was just an absolute, it was a dressing down the likes of which have not been seen.
Man. But like,
and compared to this year where everyone especially the first two rounds, they got punched in the mouth, and everyone was like, all right, here it comes.
And then it would happen.
And then they responded every time, in particular, the Philadelphia series.
I think that was probably the hardest series outside of the Warriors. I think that, because that pushed them literally to game, honestly, a couple ball bounces, and they don't win that series.
Well, let's even take a moment and remember how I said crazy because literally my brain was like, I need 2 words to describe how ridiculous this was. Incredible and crazy.
Are you talking about the triple doink?
Yes.
Oh my.
But so, and you know, I have a long history of falling asleep before the end of classic playoff games and being in the other room, peeing, grabbing a snack, doing something other than being in the goddamn room when something incredible happens. And I got to watch this one live, and it was just I don't know, man. My jaw dropped, and it was literally slack-jawed for about 15 seconds after that.
And then after that, I literally called you.
Immediately, my phone rings, immediately after that happened.
Because I had to check with him. Did that really happen?
And it was D being like, we're both in the same reality, right? That was just absurd. And of course it was a Kawhi shot.
The greatest image is just seeing everybody just rise up to their feet and just seeing Marc Gasol just throwing his arms up in celebration.
Well, also, too, I guess there's no way. I'll see if I can find a link on Twitter or something to put in the show notes, but there's that incredible photo where it's Kawhi shot the shot and he kind of sunk into a squat and is there on the sidelines.
Just see it.
Embiid jumped. And that's the thing. Kawhi shot over Embiid. And Embiid is, that dude who's so tall, and he had jumped, several feet in the air, and he still shot it over him. So Embiid is looking at the rim, Kawhi's looking at the rim, the guys on the Raptors bench are looking at the rim, and everybody's mouths are open, and it's this moment where everyone is staring, and then you can see in frame on the other side is the ball just literally sitting suspended on the edge of the rim, and that might be the coolest sports photo I've ever seen.
Doink.
And the fact that both the announcers,
Van Gundy.
You very rarely see announcers.
No, it wasn't Van Gundy because it was TNT.
Yeah, authentically lose their shit in the moment.
They become fans.
Literally, it was a moment where every single person in the arena, players, fans, announcers, all were just literally reacting the exact same way. And it was, I don't know, it was incredible. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Is it weird for me to not want to be the guy that makes that last shot? Because I'm literally just going to get tackled and mauled by everybody, including my teammates.
Oh, so this is not, so hold on. Let's unpack this for a second. So,
because he's like, people are rubbing his head and grabbing him and stuff. I'm like, oh, crud. I don't know how I feel about that. I would love it because of, the adrenaline rush, but it looks scary on camera.
So D, what you're telling me is that this is not a fear of failure. You're not afraid to take the shot because you might miss. You're afraid to take the shot because you don't want to get mobbed. This is a fear of success, not a fear of failure.
Well, it does play into, I guess, my reality and stuff. But I'm not saying I wouldn't want to make the shot because everybody wants to be the hero. Everybody. But it's just you've seen it in the pros, but especially college basketball. If you make a game-winning shot, the students are storming the court and stuff, and there's all these bodies and legs going on. You don't know if, and then not to mention your teammates are tackling you. You don't know if you could sprain an ankle from that. So I'm just saying, be careful with the celebrations. But yes, I would love to be part of that celebration. I would love to be mauled, but I would just be concerned about that chance of getting injured.
There have been cases of baseball players tearing ACLs and shit in walk-off home run celebrations, while being mobbed by their teammates. That has happened before.
Okay, well, I was thinking of someone just hopping up and down like Martin Gramatica when he tore his ACL after he hit I don't know if it was a routine kick or a game-winning one, but I remember he hopped up and down 2 times and whoop, he went down. Kawhi Leonard is like, would you say he's the best player in the league now? Or is that still a stretch?
Oh, with the Durant injury, he definitely is.
Okay. Like better than LeBron? Well, LeBron's getting older now.
Now, I mean, based on the way Durant played the first half of the playoffs, it was Durant. And I would have said Durant all the way.
KD was carrying the Warriors.
Yep.
He was that good.
But it's Kawhi. So
Kawhi
is holding the palm of the world in his hand.
Offense and defense. Not to mention, he has like the greatest laugh I've ever heard. So Kyle Lowry finally got a ring after being ridiculed by fans in the media. Serge Ibaka avenged that NBA Finals loss when he was with the Thunder. He finally got his ring.
Yep.
Fred VanVleet, who was undrafted, won a ring. Like a lot of people like Pascal Siakam coming out of the bushes. Really,
Pascal.
I'm not going to coin that phrase as my own. I think a Twitch streamer, Caleb Hart 42 said that, coming out of the bushes. So yeah, so I don't want to get sued by him. But
Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Heaven.
Marc Gasol finally got his ring after just wasting a lot years in Memphis. He didn't waste him. He developed there.
Not wasted.
But you could tell they had that ceiling.
Yeah.
They weren't gonna reach no pinnacle.
But
other than like second round.
I like that, like, Memphis fans too, like he so endeared himself to Memphis fans that like their fans are celebrating this championship too, just because like it feels like almost like a culmination of that team's accomplishments in some ways.
Yeah, because the fans knew they weren't close enough for a championship.
Yeah.
So why would you hate on like a former player that was dear to y'all to be like, I hate that you got a ring and stuff. Like, I mean, that's good sportsmanship right there by fans, because it's like you have like a significant other, and then they're gonna be going their separate ways, and you just want to let them go gracefully. Like, that's how you let them know you truly love them, and then they find a better life after that.
Huh.
So
that's all I'm going to say about that.
I'm saying it being a mutual agreement sort of thing. And you could tell, like, they were like, thanks for everything. And then, like, here, you go on. And they literally, they could have sent him to like a bad place, but they sent them to a place that was actually much closer to winning a ring. So
right.
Happy for them. Other players like Norman Powell, like he had some good stretches in the games. And, I was going to be a fanboy for a sec, though, because I just like his story. Jeremy Lin. He went from fighting for a roster spot, being in the D League before it was the G League, and getting cut from teams. Then he was given a shot in New York. Linsanity happened. Before that, he was, sleeping on like teammates' couches and stuff, just trying to fight for his NBA dreams. Then Linsanity happened. Then he started getting some shine, I think, just from sources and stuff I've seen and whatnot, of Carmelo getting jealous and stuff, and basically like kind of like hating him out of New York. Then he went to the Rockets, where they were able to get a hold of James Harden, and then Patrick Beverly came in and became more of like the guard that could play defense, and then that kind of put him out of the shuffle, got him out of the shuffle. Then he went to where did he go to next? I know he went to Charlotte, which was one of my, because that's like the state's team that we in, and it was great. He played one of his better seasons there, and I think that was one of his first playoff series too.
Really?
I think so, unless he was on the bench with the Rockets that year. But yeah, he was coming off the bench, and that was when he was like really experimenting with that wild hair. And then he went to Brooklyn, and he was averaging 18 points a game. But then he tore his patellar tendon, and then that ended his season. And then he went to Atlanta. He played on a bad team, but he was still I think averaging double figures. And then it was a buyout, and then he was able to join Toronto, which he got quality minutes during the regular season, but didn't really. But then when you trim your rosters down for your rotation for your playoffs, those extra players don't get much playing time. And I know people probably give him flack that he just played 1 minute in the NBA finals during garbage time, but you cannot let that
dude was on the team.
Take away from you can't let it take away from the journey he made. And what I just listed these spark notes of his journey in the NBA. He went from like being an undrafted fringe player that most people didn't give a chance of making it, to now he has a championship. He celebrated like that trophy was the O'Brien trophy.
Yeah.
With his mom.
Yeah.
That was just the icing on the cake. He already made several millions of dollars playing a sport that he loves. And I knew he was someone special when he led that comeback or like led the upset against Boston College when he was at Harvard. It was this guy named Lin. Like this Asian guy named Lin. I was like, man, that guy, like, they showed the highlights. He was balling, man. So, like, how he slipped through the cracks, I don't know. Or how he went undrafted, I don't know. We talked about the draft being a crapshoot about evaluating talent, but for people who are giving him flack about not getting much playing time, I'm gonna ask you, man.
Everybody on the roster. Would you
want to be sitting in the ultimate courtside seats, like sitting next to like guys like Serge Ibaka, Fred VanVleet, Kawhi Leonard and company, and being able to be in the finals and to collect a championship ring as well, and you knowing the hard work you put in to be a professional athlete to get that? People have done a lot less to get a ring.
Dude, it's a team. Everybody on the roster gets a ring.
Keep in mind, Adam Morrison has 2 rings. He has 2 with the Lakers. 2.
Oh, fuck.
That's what I'm saying. And he was a former number 3 pick. So for people to give him Lin flack, I don't want to hear it.
He's a tall white guy. He must be just like Larry Bird.
Now it's one thing if it's like Juwan Howard, who had paid their dues like 10 plus years in the biz and finally gets a ring because they know they're not going to play, but they sitting on the Heat's bench, being a mentor and stuff and getting a ring that way. I don't have no problems with that, man. Like, if you are good, if you have a spot on the bench, any reason on a pro basketball team, you deserve what you got. You deserve the money. And then if you so happen to get a ring, you deserve that too, because you put in the hard work to get that. So we don't talk about the good, like the exciting and the triumphs of the NBA. Now let's talk about the bottom feeders. Let's talk about the trash or the dumpster fires.
Talk about the goddamn Lakers
and the Knicks. Well, briefly the Knicks. All I can say is they were expecting Zion Williamson and they won't get him. That is New Orleans, and they got the 4th pick.
And that's hilarious.
Yeah, it is hilarious. But now let's go to... You can't spell hilarious without L.A. So let's go with the Lakers.
That's good, man. That's really good. You're on fire today.
I mean, it's true.
You've hit more threes than Danny Green.
I mean, it's just basic English, man, because like that's how those 2 letters are in that word, man. You're an English major, man, so you...
So what you're saying is I ought to have thought of it.
Nah. I'm saying is you'll be the first person to get that. So there you go.
I'm just messing with you, bro.
Where do we start? Do we start like from like last off season?
I think we start.
Beginning.
Oh no, we all know what happened. Throughout the last year. I think what we got to start with is
they couldn't put a roster together
with 2 games left in the season. Magic Johnson just like walking out unexpectedly.
I just liked how he was like, yeah, people are like going to me and saying like, what about next year? It's like, talking about what we're going to do next year. He's like, I ain't going to be here.
I ain't going to be here.
And he didn't even tell Jenny.
I can't. Yeah,
he didn't even tell his boss. Can you imagine if like, the common person, the common people like ourselves and the people we meet up with day to day was to do that?
I just walk into work tomorrow and I'm just like idly chatting with some people who aren't my boss, just like my coworkers, my people who sit near me. And I'm just like, yeah, man, I hope you guys finished that project, but I'm not going to be here.
I mean, that's the type of stuff that gets you like blacklisted,
You're not
only from the company, but like if future possible employers call your previous employment and then like say, so what do we need to know about this person? Well, yeah, the person quit without even notifying me.
Dude, so
yeah, that would not bode well.
I mean, obviously
only professional sports.
Obviously we know that like Magic Johnson is famous that to get another job he doesn't need to provide references.
He just needs a smile.
You know for a fact, because the whole like Lakers family thing is so weird and like incestuous that like if Magic was to call Jeannie and ask her for a job reference, she probably would provide it. Because they're just that weird. You know, the Lakers family sticks together, man. You know.
Plus if she was like on the fence, like about doing that, all you have to do is just crack that smile and then there you go.
No, unless I guess
Magic.
Unless I guess Kurt Rambis's wife was whispering in her ear at that given moment. Dude, for serious, there was a great article on ESPN kind of detailing all of the dysfunction in the last, months of Magic's tenure there. And I recommend everyone go read it because it's incredible. It is all of the insanity and bickering and backfiring at like the dysfunctional ass company I used to work at. But it's like the most powerful organization in sports, just about. So like,
not anymore because they ain't winning.
Well, yeah, but I mean, much like the Yankees, even when the Yankees are bad, the Yankees logo is worth more than other logos.
That's true. But the Yankees
because Jay-Z was wearing it all the time, that sort of thing.
That's true, but the Yankees haven't gone more than like 5 seasons without making a postseason, though.
No,
like,
true.
In like a while, like during our like time of existence, they have not gone more than like a couple years not making a postseason, which is harder to make in baseball than in basketball.
True.
The fact that the Lakers couldn't even make an 8th seed
with LeBron,
but he got injured, and plus, I can believe that. I can believe that didn't work because I wasn't sure about their playoff chances because it was LeBron, and then they did a horrible job with the team building, with the roster build. Like, you could make the case of Ingram and Kuzma. But after that, I mean, you had Lonzo Ball, but he hadn't developed a jump shot. And then who they put? Rondo, who's best in the playoffs, but they didn't even get to. JaVale McGee, Michael Beasley. They let Julius Randle walk, and then they signed KCP.
Dude.
And they traded they traded what's his name? D'Angelo, just to load off Timothy Mozgov's terrible contract.
Well, like, dude,
they blew it a lot.
They signed LeBron, who's a guy who's one of his many Hall of Fame talents is facilitating for shooters. And they were like, what's a bright idea to pair with him? Signing a bunch of fucking non-shooters.
But whose fault is that? That's the management.
Right. That's Rob Pelinka's fault.
People talk about like LeBron James is the GM. He would have been better off being the GM.
LeBron didn't go sign all those guys. That was Pelinka's idea, Magic's idea. So
I'm talking about like his days with like, him having like high stock of like, of having say of who was the coach in Cleveland, who players played along with him.
Oh, I mean, like him and Rich Paul totally like got Tristan Thompson paid, for example.
Yeah.
But whatever. But okay, so all this happens, and then like a few weeks go by, and then Magic goes on friggin' TV.
Not just TV, First Take.
He goes on First Take, which is like the trashiest. It's like the fucking like, I don't even know.
Jerry Springer of sports talk shows.
it's almost like Alex Jones of the sports world at this point.
Remember, Scary Terry did that too. He aired the dirty laundry there, and he's likely not going to be back on the team.
But Magic goes on First Take and just
throws everybody under the bus.
And just says all this stuff about how Rob Pelinka's the backstabber and this and that, and he wasn't allowed to do what he wanted.
I wish I could have watched that.
Blah, blah. And I just, oh my God, I think he's probably done in front office jobs at this point, but how would anyone ever let this guy back in a front office again after something like that?
Magic don't even have to work no more, though.
I mean, no,
he never had to work.
No, he's gonna have a bad Twitter account forever, and that's gonna be his legacy now. But I mean, God, dude, Brian Colangelo got blown up for the fake Twitter accounts. But, I think those were ultimately run by his wife, right?
I don't know. I can't remember.
That facilitated his fall. But, him
and Kevin Durant should, have a beer together.
But it's not like Colangelo went on First Take and said a bunch of stuff about, whoever. So, man, that is messed up.
You know what's even more messed up, though? Oh, sorry, go ahead and finish your thought.
But in a way, it's much like just suddenly being like, I'm gone. It's like what we all kind of wish we could do, especially when we've had a really bad job or shit coworkers. We kind of wish we could go on TV and talk about it. Just to shame the shit out of that person.
I mean, we could talk it in private, with other people who's maybe other former coworkers of that said, former place of employment because they understood the struggle and whatnot. That's cool, but that's talked about in private and in confidence with a person who's not going to throw you under the bus or anything because they're not there either, or they don't work where you work, so that information is meaningless. But for the whole world to see.
That's incredible.
What's even more incredible, though, was the whole Demps thing mid-season.
Yes. Right, and then that's after, and that's after the whole thing with Dell Demps where he intentionally trolled the Lakers, even though he really had no intention of trading AD before the trade deadline, to leak all of the rumors of their players possibly being traded to the media to torpedo their team chemistry.
It just killed the chemistry. I remember seeing a clip of Brandon Ingram shooting a free throw. Bron's gonna trade you.
I don't think I've ever felt that petty in my entire life. Well, debatable.
We've all had those, but that was just straight up awesome, though.
Yeah.
It's I'm going down anyway. I'm just going to take somebody with me.
Because you have to figure that Demps was the same guy who had been running the team all these years, so he had a lot of years of futility to answer for, not being able to get over the hump with the generational talent. So, Didn't
they used to have Chris Paul didn't they have Chris Paul when he was there?
Yeah, they sure did. They had Chris Paul for the first however many years of his career, and then they were awful, and they lucked into having the number one pick, and they drafted AD, and they were never able to get very far with him. I mean, the thing is, though, you can't. They were not world beaters maybe when Cousins got there, but they at least took their shot when they had Cousins. And
they won a
won
a playoff series against the Trailblazers. They swept them.
But you can't predict that you can't predict catastrophic injuries, and that was just rotten luck for them too. But anyways,
now they can they can really be stacked next year, this upcoming year with Zion. And if they keep the fourth pick, or they can flip it and get even more pieces. Yep, maybe established veteran or two young pieces as well. Who knows? But do you think? While we're on a great segue between that New Orleans and LA connection, how do you feel about the trade? They trade a lot to get Anthony Davis.
From the Lakers' perspective, they had no choice.
They were going to do that anyway. They wanted to do that.
They needed to do something, and that's the funny part, right? Is after all this dysfunction, 2 years in a row, they got friggin' LeBron James, and they got friggin' Anthony Davis. So,
I don't see them getting out of the second round though.
No, but the point is, like, if they make some shrewd moves from here on out, they could be a title contender this coming season. And it's like, I am just, again, it's that what pisses other people off, and it's the same with the damn Yankees, it's the same with the Cowboys. What pisses other people off is this, like, exceptionalism thing, this sort of entitlement and it's like, not only fans, but people in the organization. Oh, everybody wants to go play in LA, and it's just like, it's irritating as hell. Because it's like, I don't know. Anyway, without degenerating into like bad bar fan takes,
that's what makes it fun.
It's irritating. But for the Pelicans, I mean, they're set up for the future, and they've got a ton of picks now, and they've sort of in a weird way, they're now like the new Celtics or the new 76ers.
The new Nuggets.
They've parlayed all of this into just a war chest of assets, and they're set up, and it remains to be seen what they choose to do with them, if they end up just drafting players or who knows what. But
I like the trade for New Orleans. I sort of like it for the Lakers because, they got AD. But I kind of hate it for the Lakers because I feel like they're doing like a less head-scratching version of what the Brooklyn Nets did when they auctioned off their future. Like for like the next 3 or 4 years, banking on like established talent that is up in age, because like Anthony Davis has been in the league for like 7 years.
He's 26, dude.
Oh, he's only 26.
So
that's why he came off. When he
that's
was a
the point.
He came out as a freshman. But like LeBron ain't getting any younger though. That's what I'm worried about.
LeBron's not getting younger, but you have to figure that he's going to resign there. So, and they knew that going in. That's the advantage they had over a team like the Celtics. The Celtics probably didn't want to part with Jason Tatum because they were like, look, we don't want to blow up our team to have a guy for 1 year. That makes no damn sense.
No.
So in essence, what the Lakers were trading for was of higher value than what the Celtics were, because they knew that if they got him, they'd be able to keep him. So dude's 26. Like, once LeBron kind of moves past, his career, they're going to have Anthony Davis to build around for God knows how long.
That is if he re-signs with the Lakers after next season.
He will.
I don't know, man.
He's going to.
I mean,
why wouldn't he?
The last big man they got that they were trying to convince to stay was Dwight Howard, and we know how that turned out.
Yeah, but Dwight Howard was also kind of bad at that point.
Yeah. He's not Anthony Davis.
This is a generational talent who's at the peak of his powers, who basically forced his way there. Like, he wanted to be there so bad that he caused all of this, basically torpedoed his team's season, in essence, asking for the trade. I mean, they were kind of bad before that, but you know what I mean. So, like, he's going to stay there, and there, in that sense, I mean, yeah, you worry maybe what they're going to do without all those draft picks, but really, you're the friggin' Lakers. You can always go sign somebody.
That's what I'm worried about, though. Like, you got LeBron and AD on the cap, so who are you going to put around them?
Right, and they
gave away Ingram, Josh Hart, like another key player that was a starter. I forgot his name. Like they got like what? Oh yeah, Lonzo Ball. Like,
obviously they should sign Kyrie.
Yeah, I think he's going to. I think I saw a report that he might be going to the Nets, likely.
That's anyway,
but
like, yeah,
they only have Kuzma mainly.
Yeah,
like that's who's actually worth a damn. Like outside of
they were able to keep Kuzma though, so that's something.
I'm glad it kept Kuzma because it's ironic that Zoe was drafted number 2 overall, and like Kuzma was drafted in the 20s, and he's the one that stays because he proved himself of like a higher worth.
Some irony to that.
Without the baggage of Super Dad.
Yeah, but
turn my gears anytime. Oh God, that was horrible. Oh, switch gears. Oh my gosh.
I do not like that man.
LeVar.
In fact, I don't enjoy giving him airtime even on this podcast that no one listens to. So let's not even talk about it.
Yeah. But I'm wrestling, he was crude and like sexist and what kind of you say perverted, I guess.
Let's call it what it is: sexual harassment.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
The way Molly's eyes got all big and stuff, like, I can't believe he said, like, it was like that. I can't believe he said that look. And then she just like,
isn't he married too?
Yes.
I guess that doesn't matter. It certainly didn't matter for the president. So, zing.
Oh, but man, yeah. So now he can stop talking about like them with the Lakers and stuff. So yeah.
I literally do not ever want to hear LeVar Ball say anything ever again. I am over it.
So much for that squad of LeBron James Jr., LaMelo, LaAngelo, and Lonzo, and then as I referenced from episode 11, LeVar ended up talking himself onto the bench as like a 6th man or something, because apparently he could beat Jordan.
Right. I mean, if you have a chance to bring in a player who can beat Michael Jordan 1-on-1, then Yep. I mean, in fairness, I think I could beat Michael Jordan 1-on-1 too, but in a game of Ken Griffey Jr. baseball for the N64.
Yeah. He's like 6'8". I can't even like get my hand up. All he has to do is just stand in one spot and just shoot over me. And like, no matter how old you get, like, if you're like a former basketball player who was known for being able to shoot the basketball, I don't think that goes away until you're like a much significantly older geriatric. I like how NBA free agency is always on my birthday.
Oh, weird,
July
right?
1st.
Oh, that's so weird.
You know what's even more weird? In 2 weeks, man. In 2 weeks, I'm gonna be 30. Man, oh man.
I am very close to follow. I'm a month after that, bro.
We're gonna be 30-some-year-old man. Maybe we'll be signed to a contract to like the Brooklyn Nets so we can lead them to the promised land.
Oh my god. No, I want that Bobby Bonilla money where you get like $1 million.
My birthday's Bobby Bonilla day.
You get like $1 million a year for the
Just
next
to
like
sit on your butt
for the next like 35 years. Dude, contract deferrals are the friggin' best.
Yeah, I cannot take credit to like lead them to the promised land. I remember Tree was like, your name Tree was like that's okay. These 30-plus-year-old men will lead us like to the promised land or something. Like he was being sarcastic, like this was of it being a good move, but it wasn't.
The Brooklyn Nets.
The Brooklyn Nets.
Has there ever been... Can you think of any other sports team that's named after a piece of sports equipment? Because they're named after, like, a basketball thing. They're the Nets. There's not a team named, like, the hockey sticks or the putts or the pucks.
The putts.
The putts. There's not a golfer. Pucks. There's not a golfer named 9-Iron, as far as I know.
Man.
That'd be a cool rap name, though.
Oh, I like that.
What's up, everybody? My name is 9-Iron.
I mean, you see things that's named after like planes and stuff, like the jets and the rockets. And
no, but those aren't sports equipment.
Oh, not sports equipment, but like here's equipment: the Washington Bullets.
Oh,
I wonder if that's the reason why they changed their name.
No, it is. It is.
Okay.
Because in particular at that time, DC had like a really bad epidemic of gun violence.
Oh, wow.
I mean, everywhere has an epidemic of gun violence. But anyway, can't stop with the social commentary, people. But seriously, dude, I'm racking my brain. Other than the Louisville Bats, which barely counts because it's a minor league baseball team, I can't think of another example of a team named after sports equipment. Can you?
I cannot.
I can't.
Man.
Whoa. Listeners, write in, for all two of you that are listening.
The Montgomery Biscuits? It's not equipment, but it's a breakfast item.
You're a Montgomery biscuit.
And the Savannah Bananas. This has been on the backlog. WrestleMania has came and gone. I mean, it's been like that. That was in April, but something really significant happened that I just want to talk about. But just like I know we've been on like running for like a little while, but I want to just make this out because this is really significant, especially for me. At WrestleMania, they had Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. And Kofi Kingston won it. He is African American. He is from, or like, he actually is from Africa, Ghana, West Africa. But like, he is a black man, and he won a heavyweight championship on the biggest stage at WrestleMania. Like, I literally shed like a little tear when I saw that happen live. Because in my generation, I mean, I've seen Booker T win like the World Heavyweight Championship, but like the WWE title, like someone winning it on like pretty much their Super Bowl program, that is a moment that I don't care how long his title reign is, it's the significance and the principle of him winning that and that being his name being engraved in that history, those history books. I can tell my kids, my grandkids, and my great-grandkids about that. If they were ever wrestling fans. That means no one could ever take that away from me because that's like my, a significant black figure in professional wrestling ever. Like since I've been alive, winning something of that magnitude. And to me, that is just awesome. And yes, I'm not holding that back. I that's how awesome it is. You may not often hear me swear, but it is awesome, man.
We'll have an extra big bleep for that one. Yeah, that's really cool. I had no idea, actually.
Yeah,
I know I don't really follow wrestling, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a black champion?
There have been, but there's few and far in between.
But not at WrestleMania, I take it.
Not that I can remember. Like, I'm not keen on my history, but like the only people I can remember winning like a WWE or a World Heavyweight Championship that, you know, can be considered black. Let's see, Kofi Kingston, Booker T, Mark Henry, aka Sexual Chocolate. Look it up. If you want to like, you know, split hairs a little bit, Dwayne Johnson, because he's got some African American descent in him, and Ron Simmons. But that's it. That's 5 I can think of.
Right.
And that's probably not too far from like the actual amount of like world champions in the history of like, you know, I guess WWE, WWF, WWE. And I lived to see Booker T and Kofi Kingston do it. But Kofi was the most significant because that happened at WrestleMania.
Right.
And you could tell the fans were really like rooting for this guy because fans witnessed, especially in professional wrestling, if people know that you've been grinding, like you've been in the business for like been at that company for like 10 plus years, and you come in and night out, perform your heart out, hone your craft, learning and growing.
Right.
You're gonna garner respect from your peers and from the fans who support you. And that was one of those things where, you know, you're like a senior member at a company, and it's like you have finally got through paying your dues, and you're like getting the raise, or you're getting the recognition that you rightfully deserve. And I remember people saying, I think it was someone said, I don't know if it was CM Punk or somebody, they said like that push came like 5 years late, but I'd rather for it to be 5 years late than always be late than like not happening at all.
Better late than never.
Yes.
I've missed this, buddy. Let's do this some more.
Absolutely.
So hey, side note, we're gonna really try to have a more consistent schedule doing this. It's been a while. As I said, if nothing else comes from the show, I really enjoy having the opportunity to hang out with my best friend more often.
No doubt, man. Like this has been quite therapeutic. And like, oh, we're doing it on a school night. Woo!
Oh no,
it's a work night.
Who cares?
Who cares? I love it because it's just, good God Almighty, it's been since February. It was like since the AFC Championship game.
Right, yeah, we were talking about that crazy game.
So it has been like a full like season since we did some form of an episode.
Yep.
So is this a season premiere then?
Yep. That's going to change, and hopefully you're hearing this on Sunday. We're going to try to release episodes. I think we're going to shoot for a bi-weekly schedule. So hopefully you should hear this Sunday, and then another 2 Sundays after that. We're going to try to stick to that. We have an Instagram now. Follow us on Instagram at DVDcastPod. There currently isn't a whole lot on our Instagram, but
that's going to change. And email us on dvdcastpod@gmail.com.
Do that, yeah. Send us scam letters you've received. Tell us we're wrong about, I don't know, anything you want.
Tell us we rock or tell us we suck.
Yeah, check out our YouTube channel at, I don't know, YouTube. But anyway, yes, we are on all of the social medias. We love to hear from you. Please like and subscribe and do all that bullshit. Give us a rating on iTunes if you so desire. That's really all I've got. I think it's time for a motivational speech.
Oh, is that like my thing now?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm just gonna make it brief and stuff because, like, you know, we have been going for a while, which we normally do. That's nothing new. But my motivational speaker is, and I'm just speaking from experiences, and I'm reminded of, like, too, you know, what I was talking about earlier about, you know, Jeremy Lin, you know, him grinding and stuff, and he ain't the first to do it. He ain't the last to do it. Like, of a series of players grinding just for a spot, but. It's about more of the journey than the destination. Like, don't get me wrong, the destination is really important, but the appreciation of you getting there comes from the journey. And from me, people who have been close to me, they notice, I guess, I haven't been the most fun person in the last 2 years because of the struggles I went through. I was in a toxic environment with a job. I mean, it was okay and I learned some things, but there were like, I was not being given like, you know, the fair amount of things that were required for a job. And me trying to grind and find a job and rejection letter after rejection letter, or just straight up no calls, and it just seemed like it was hopeless or pointless. And then I would stop for a while and not apply at all. And then I would still be in the same like terrible situation and go back and try to apply. And it seemed like it was just a never ending cycle. And I was never going to, you know, get out of the situation I was in. But, you know, guys like Dan, my girlfriend and future fiance, Casey, who was from episode 3. One of the greatest episodes ever.
We should have her back on at some point.
She'll be back. They had been through, they worked at similar places or the same place, and they found a way to dig themselves out, and they just were encouraging me that, hey, I can do the same. And for the longest time, I didn't believe them. I didn't believe anyone. Heck, I didn't even believe in myself. But when I guess, stopped putting so much pressure on myself or just start trying to move, like, I remember I was trying to move and try to apply for a program at the community college, which I'm still trying to hear from, but I probably won't take it even if I do get accepted. I was looking at that and trying to find, a place to do like a standardized testing site. Then I get a phone call on that same day from, I'm not going to say the name because I guess company policy, but
Company X.
But, nice. They said, hey, can you come in for an interview? And I'm like, okay. And this was like a week, this is when I was actually given like pretty much a week off from my other job. So it seemed like it was just, the blocks were just kind of laid in place.
The stars aligned, the Red Sea parted.
Like, I don't know if, I don't care if somebody believes in God or not. There had to be some kind of special forces working, to line, because everything just lined too perfectly for there not to be some special force. But the interview on Wednesday, on the following day, then, okay, well, we'll let you know 2-3 weeks. They let me know a week later for an opportunity. Of course, I accepted that. And I'm in that spot, in that position right now, in training and stuff. But I was able to get out of that situation, and I have a new job that right now I feel, happy with so far. And it's just the grind, I guess some of the turmoil, the stress, the heartache, the heartbreak, all of that just rolled into just this, just this whole smorgasbord of events. And it's just seeing where I was a couple years ago to seeing where I'm at now. I'm going to have more appreciation for this job that I have. Because as a person told me, a trainer of mine was telling me, on this job, saying, you were, telling me and my couple of other co-workers, you guys were picked over somebody else. Somebody who probably might have needed this job more than you did. But they chose you for a reason. And that within itself is being grateful and appreciative for what you got. And I'm thinking that without these trials and tribulations, I wouldn't have been as appreciative as I am now about it, or being grateful as I am now about it. And I think that's where I'm summing it up of the journey leading to a better destination, because you know where you've came from. So when you get there, it's just even sweeter, because you know how you've gotten instant gratification. It ain't as sweet. Yeah. But when you busted your tail for something that you wanted for a while and you finally got it, man, that'd be the sweetest thing ever.
I sit here in June of 2019 as a much happier and healthier person than I was, say, this time last year. Mm-hmm. And honestly, you can probably go back and listen to the episodes we were putting out around that time last year and hear the difference in my voice even. So, yeah. And same thing, man. It is entirely a matter of,
perspective.
Yeah. What you've been through informs a lot about your perspective on things and your willingness to keep grinding.
Remember, as the great Frederick Douglass once said, without struggle, there's no progress.
Many, many things in life worth having are not had easily, at least for most people.
Yeah.
And proud of you, buddy.
I'm proud of you, man. So yeah, that's my motivational take for the episode. So yeah, so we'll wrap this up. I had fun. Huh?
Can we make that a formalized segment? Can we have I don't even know what we'd call it, but like, D's motivational take or something.
It's
become a thing now.
It has become a thing,
dude.
You say I'm good at it.
Yeah, no. You get flowing and you speak from the heart, and I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
All I need to do is like hit the gym, and I can be like as motivational as Ray Lewis.
Oh, man. No, dude, seriously, you're gonna graduate from the show and have a series of TED Talks is what's gonna happen.
I dream of doing a TED Talk someday. I ain't gonna lie. But anyway, so thank you guys, ladies and gentlemen, you guys,
boys and girls around the world.
Oh yes, we really appreciate you all joining us and putting up with our voices and stuff. But we really do appreciate you just coming out and giving us a listen. And we definitely don't do this for no money. We're not getting like 1 red cent. Like I'd be happy if we got like a half of a penny. We do this for fun.
We pay for hosting, so technically we pay to do this show.
Yeah, and we work full-time jobs to like the fun, like I guess the fun, the time and the equipment to do this.
Yes. Although I'll be honest, even if we were not paying for hosting, this would still be just on YouTube, and even fewer people would hear it. So,
but it will still be heard.
It will still be heard.
Like anyway, this was great, and we hope you enjoyed it, and took some great things from it, whether you thought it was knowledgeable or you got a good laugh or two. If we put you guys and gals in a good mood, then we done our job. So yeah, and on that note, I've been D with 2 E's.
It's been Dan with an AN, and I have one last thing to say before we let you all go. Mm-hmm. And that thing is, I wish I could just hug you all, but I'm not gonna.
But someday he will. Peace, everybody.
Peace. The point I was trying to make when I said off the top of my bat is
off the top of his bat.
Yeah, we'll have to put one of those cheesy baseball bat sound effects in there, just like the Scott Stapp Marlins theme song. Let's play ball, it's game day. We want strikeouts, base hits, double plays.
Come on, Marlins, make us proud.
With a little faith and love, you, too, will soar.
Will soar.
Holy crap, I love this show.